An American volunteer unit called the Tunnel Rats. Their assignment was to hunt the enemy underground.
It was you versus the enemy.
Picture this. You're 20 feet underground, in a space so tight your shoulders scrape both walls. Your only light is dying, and somewhere in the darkness ahead, you hear the faint sound of breathing. This was the reality for an elite group of American soldiers in Vietnam, the men they called the Tunnel Rats. The year was 1966, and America was fighting a ghost. While jets screamed overhead and boots trudged through jungle, the real war was happening beneath their feet. The Viet Cong had built an invisible empire, thousands of miles of tunnels where they could vanish like smoke. Traditional warfare was useless against this enemy. That's when command made a desperate decision. They needed men small enough to fit in tunnels barely wider than a coffin. Men crazy enough to crawl into them armed with just a flashlight and a .45 pistol. These weren't just tunnels. They were death traps riddled with punji pits, tripwires, and bamboo vipers whose bite meant death in hours. The military didn't order men into these holes. They asked for volunteers. They found them. Most were small, wiry men weighing less than 140 pounds. You'd pass them on the street without a second glance. But these unassuming soldiers were about to write one of the most harrowing chapters in military history. The moment a tunnel rat dropped into a hole, the world shrank to the beam of their flashlight. The air grew thick, a soup of damp earth, mold, and the lingering smoke of cook fires. Some tunnels went down 3 stories, where the darkness was absolute and the silence deafening. Until it wasn't. In these cramped passages, firefights happened at point-blank range. A tunnel rat might round a corner to find himself face-to-face with the enemy. No room to raise a rifle, no space to retreat. The flash of a gunshot meant temporary blindness. The sound could burst eardrums in the confined space. Many fights ended with knives or bare hands. But what haunted these men most wasn't the enemy. It was the waiting, the knowledge that every step could trigger a trap, the sound of your own heartbeat becoming deafening, the fear that your light would die, leaving you in perfect darkness, unable to even turn around. Their success was staggering. In these underground duels, tunnel rats eliminated over 12,000 Viet Cong fighters. In one operation in August 1968, they captured 153 enemy soldiers and killed 3 more. But numbers don't tell the real story. Each victory was a personal battle with fear itself, fought in conditions that would break most men. Some tunnel rats would emerge shaking, drenched in sweat, swearing never to go down again. Yet many would volunteer for the next mission and the next. Asked why, one veteran simply said, "Because no one else could do it." Even the enemy spoke of them with awe. A captured Viet Cong officer once said they feared these small Americans more than any other soldiers. These men who would follow them into the earth itself, who turned their underground sanctuary into a hunting ground. These were the tunnel rats of Vietnam. In an age of high-tech warfare, they fought the most primitive battles imaginable. They didn't just face their demons, they chased them into the darkest places on earth. Their story isn't just about war, it's about the depths of human courage, about men who crawled into hell itself, armed with nothing but a flashlight, a pistol, and an unshakable will to return with the job done. Some say wars are won in the light of day. This one was won in the dark, by men who became legends by going where others feared to tread.